Rundown.
Davis Fang, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Good morning. You're not political, but which politician scares you the most?
Ooh, I would have to say it's probably from my first story, Anthony Albanese, who's Australian, the Australian Prime Minister.
Tell us about your first story. So this is about social media. We've spoken a great deal about this. The fact is it's everywhere, and young people using social media and also just no boundaries.
Yeah, so it's been quite a topic of discussion even in this country about whether or not younger people should be banned from using social media. Well, it turns out that the Australian government have actually taken action because they've banned social media for all people under the age of 16. So they plan to legislate a minimum age of 16 for social media access, and they'll be given penalties for the platforms will be given penalties if they don't comply. This is apparently to help with protecting children from predators and also to help with the so-called mental health crisis. So the problem is, for me, is that enforcement methods for this age limit verification, basically they don't really exist at the moment. The government has sort of specified how it might be achieved.
So how might it be achieved?
So Albanese and also Communications Minister Michelle Rowland have suggested that biometric features, sort of like face detection or fingerprint readers, could be used, or you could scan your government ID. But
what do you think of that? Biometric data?
I think, look, you know, technology always has a force for good and things like that. And, of course, you want enhanced security and things. But, you know, can you just imagine a database of any kind having, you know, kids' fingerprints and all of this just on? I just think that is...
And facial recognition.
Facial recognition.
And also history of what you've looked at, for example. Are you not worried about that?
I definitely am pretty worried about it. And my concern especially is that if you were opposed to the rule, like I am, the coalition opposition government is actually urging the government to fast-track this within 3 weeks, actually. And this is despite a federal trial into the assurance of the technology not actually having started yet. So this is quite concerning for me. And also Meta, who owns Facebook and Instagram, of course they've shown willingness to initiate this. Obviously they've got no choice really, but they have noted that it's pretty difficult with current technology to enforce it across all of their platforms.
So this is your country, Australia. Why are they trying to fast-track this? There must be a political imperative.
I think it is just a solution to the mental health crisis that's occurring with younger people, and also the protection of minors, which obviously is an issue, but I don't think that this is the way to do it.
One to watch, because I think that's going to be rolled out across several countries.
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think so.
Now, let's move on. We talk about AI all the time.
We do.
Let's go to a break. After the break, I want to talk about a couple of AI stories which are really intriguing. Davis will be back after this break. Don't go anywhere. This is Weekend Breakfast. We're in the middle of Tech Review. Davis Fang is here talking about Australia. Let's move on and talk about AI, shall we? And parenting.
Yes, AI parenting is here. Isn't that exciting?
Right, what does that mean?
Well, there's emerging companies. There's a whole list of companies emerging that are developing AI-driven tools to assist parents with tasks like meal planning, educational content, and also personalized advice, all using AI. And this is obviously a big growing area of growth. There's been a lot of venture capital interest. Would you like to hear about some of the ways that AI can improve your parenting? Well, there's one app called Co-Parenter. This is aimed at divorced parents, helping them manage co-parenting disputes and communications using AI and human mediation. So that's very exciting. I think it's just an app that you tell what you want to tell. You tell the app what you want to tell your partner, and then it sort of makes that nice.
That's fantastic.
Something like that. Can't say I've used it personally, but that's what I've seen from.
I love that. I was reading about Cradlewise, an AI-powered baby monitor to detect a baby's sleep pattern and rock the crib. I mean, honestly.
I think that one's genuinely quite good. However, one that I do find quite funny is called Grok, and it's got no relation to Elon Musk's AI Grok chatbot at all. It's an AI-powered talking toy developed by Curio and also the musician Grimes. Obviously, she used to be Elon's partner, and it's a soft toy that is supposed to educate your child with a little computer inside.
Well, I can get behind I can get behind some of that because I think some of the parents I know are slightly artificial and not much intelligence there. Some of the parents
Charlie,
I know,
deluge of emails suddenly.
They're not listening. They're being pushing the pram this morning. I don't know what are the parents getting up to.
Well, this all sounds very fun. Obviously, there are privacy concerns for both the parent and the children. Not all apps have the same security protocols, obviously. And
can I, in quite a serious sort of point, because we're talking just about social media for kids and the protection of media and, you know, the volatility there. Is this not just another thing that actually encourages or contributes to a mental health crisis? If you're unable to communicate, for example, with a partner, so if you're co-parenting now, you've got to have difficult conversations. You've got to be able to push through that for the sake of your children. The idea that we're just now relying on an app
on a translation tool.
Yes, to make it sort of slightly politer or nicer.
Yes.
And it just... we then lose that ability to communicate and to feel...
humanity. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm slightly worried about that one.
I think there was a case recently about a child who was neurodivergent, who could only really communicate to Siri on their phone. However, that did train them to communicate with people in real life.
OK, that's a good story.
They didn't have the confidence to speak to people otherwise.
So sorry, I was just going to move on and talk about other AI applications. There's a story I found this morning, which I've just given you. It's a great story about this woman who was blind, registered blind, couldn't see at all, and they used AI to look at her eyeballs and essentially then program surgery which has allowed her to have better than 20/20 vision. Just tell us what they did.
Yeah, it's really fascinating because obviously AI is scary in a lot of ways. However, in the medical field especially, we've been seeing real progress with AI technology. So there's a procedure that scanned this woman's eyes who was legally blind, and it basically used an algorithm to determine the best way to improve her eyesight. So rather than, you know, guessing,
having a go,
the AI looked at all of the possibilities and they chose the best solution, which I think is just brilliant.
It is utterly brilliant. And so it came up with the correct procedure, the best procedure, the fastest procedure, and it's worked.
Yeah, LASIK, obviously, we have heard a lot of horror stories. However, with this AI technology, I feel like we can circumnavigate a lot of these issues.
So now, I want to move on to this next one because it's pertinent to me, because I may or may not have lost my iPhone recently, and Find My iPhone is really good, very useful indeed.
Yes, however, the problem with Find My iPhone so far is the fact that
grinning.
You just it's up to the owner to find their iPhone themselves. Yes. However, now you can enlist help with the latest iOS 18 update. So for a while now, Find My has been able to help people like David.
It Find My.
It's called Find My because you can find more than just your iPhone. So it's compatible with like iPhones and other objects that you've attached an AirTag to, possibly.
What's an AirTag?
An AirTag is like a little battery-powered device that you can clip onto your luggage or whatever you want, and then you can help locate that item.
That's good, I like that.
But until
I might clip it to my partner.
Keep
tabs.
Until now, though, the onus of actually finding the item has been up to the owner, but now with the 18.2 update, you can now share the item's location with other people. This is especially useful for if you lose your coat, let's say, in a taxi. You can get the taxi driver, send them the location of your coat, and then they can help you in the search for your lost item. So I think that's very useful.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. Right, let's move on and talk about this story, which makes no sense to me at all. Apple is finally letting green bubbles send message reactions. What does that mean?
So in iOS 18, which is this year's iPhone update, Apple introduced something called RCS, which is Rich Communication Services, basically like the successor to SMS, normal text messages.
Right.
And this basically allows you to do things like emojis, you can send longer videos, you can do like read receipts, stuff like that. However, until now, there's been a little bit of a glitch where emojis won't show up properly if you send an emoji to an Android user. As now with the latest update, you can now send emojis to everyone.
Wow. The world will be a better and different place. So hang on a minute. So just talk me through this again. So you're saying instead of a normal text message, this is called what?
It's called RCS, which is basically like an advanced version of a text message. You get most of the features that you would if you use iMessage on your iPhone.
So is this another icon that pops up on your phone?
No, it basically replaces the existing sort of text messages you receive. However, if you receive a text message from an Android phone, it's still in the green bubble. So they are still differentiating between your iPhone
not the blue bubble,
and your Android friends.
Is that the difference? The green bubble, not the blue bubble. So I didn't know that. Well, I do now.
No, no one ever texts me. I get no commitment.
No, because everyone's on WhatsApp.
Well, yes. I was invited here by Carrier Pigeon.
In this country, everyone's on WhatsApp. However, in Australia, my experience is everyone uses iMessage. So if you've got a friend using an Android phone, they might feel a bit ostracised because they're missing all the
why
features.
the cultural difference?
I feel like the market share for iPhones is a lot higher in Australia. It's closer to 60 or even 70% versus around 50% here in the UK. So that might be part of the problem.
And I also think, just very quick, I think kids today moved away from WhatsApp. WhatsApp, everyone is on WhatsApp. And I think kids started to text again because of programmes like Love Island, where there's that thing where I got a text. You know, you get a text. Did I do that right?
I've not heard about this.
That's right.
Young people are texting again rather than WhatsApping.
Right.
It's true.
You're really down with the kids, John. I'm very impressed. Right, so now, talking about AI, a company has just exceeded Apple, haven't they, and become the biggest market capitalisation for an AI company. Who is it?
This is completely tragic, obviously. Apple is no longer the most valuable company in the world. It's a joke. Nvidia, who makes graphics cards for AI companies, a lot of gamers would be familiar with who they are. They've recently surpassed Apple for a second time to become the world's most valuable company. They're now worth $3.43 trillion, which is quite incredible. And this is mostly driven by everyone wanting their graphics cards to use in AI applications. Their stock price has actually increased by 850% over the past 2 years. They're so dominant in this space that they own 90% of the market. And Meta alone have bought over 350,000 of their graphics cards, worth billions of dollars, in just the past year. So we can sort of begin to see the scale of this company and how it's managed to become the world's largest company.
Talking of huge industries, let's talk about Bitcoin, because it is a $2 trillion cryptocurrency industry. Now, the founder, just in terms of this, the founder of Bitcoin, no one knows who this is, do they?
Yeah, this is a massive mystery. It's been a mystery ever since, the founding of Bitcoin, because we know the founders of most technology companies. We know
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Musk, whoever.
Yeah.
But we don't know who the founder of Bitcoin is. So, although this Bitcoin is worth over $2 trillion, the so-called creator, we don't know if this is the person's actual name, but it's Satoshi Nakamoto. And speculation over this guy's identity has been around for many years. In fact, there was an HBO documentary recently who named Canadian Bitcoin expert Peter Todd as a possible suspect for the founder of Bitcoin, but nobody has successfully identified who he is. There was a recent press conference where there was supposed to be some sort of unveiling, but unfortunately, after nobody coming out, a man named Stephen Moeller claimed to be the founder. He was just sitting in the audience. And
I found it.
He had no evidence, so all the journalists walked out, and it was.
So I was reading about this, that no one knows who Satoshi is. That's a good thing, and actually, the anonymity is not only deliberate; it's essential for the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are claiming this, that the significance of the the mystery is to preserve Bitcoin's sort of like decentralized ideals. However, I'm not really sure about that. It just adds to the mistake, I guess.
I guess.
Yes. And maybe it's Banksy or something like that. Banksy's Bitcoin, or totally anonymous. Although we might know who Banksy is, but
or Charlie Rowley.
It could. Yes, I'm into seriously. How do you think I got him from the States so quickly? But is that because Bitcoin is? It is not a state currency. So, for example, the US dollar, it's the state that obviously. The US dollar and the UK pound, it doesn't belong to any one individual.
Oh, I see.
No, it doesn't.
But Bitcoin is.
It crosses borders.
It is not a. It's not owned or regulated by a state. It is not public in that sense.
So
it is a.
We haven't got time to do the essentials of Bitcoin right now, but I have to go to a break. But Charlie, thanks for opening that Pandora's box.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Davis, thanks ever so much. Davis Fang there. That was today's Tech Rundown.
Tech Rundown.
Well.